Hi, I'm Pan Athen, founder of SoundFellas and creator of PsychoPan. In this video, I'm going to show you a different way of thinking about your mix, based on sonic worldbuilding, an approach that comes from game sound design and soundscape theory. The idea is simple. Instead of treating each sound separately, you build a world where every sound has its own place and relationship to everything around it. This can help make your mixes more consistent and give your music a more defined identity. Originally, musicians will literally position themselves around a single microphone to create a particular sound and perspective. As mixing technology became accessible, we started achieving similar results with volume, panning, and reverb. Now, with everything inside the computer, tools like PsychoPan let us take that idea much further. We can place, move, and automate sounds in ways that wouldn't even be possible in a real room. The key idea is to treat the mix as a designed sonic world, rather than deciding where each track should sit only when you get to the mixing stage. You can do this while you're writing and arranging the song, or later while you're mixing. Think of every track as an entity in a scene. The vocal might be right in front of you, a percussion element might sit somewhere beside you, while pads, guitars, or textures might exist much further away. With PsychoPan, you can position those elements, move them, and automate the relationships as part of the musical arrangement. Once you start thinking this way, you can also carry the same spatial language from one song to another. Your tracks can have their own consistent world, and that consistency can become part of your sonic style, even across an entire album. And this is something you can already hear in the way different genres are mixed. In hip-hop and modern pop, for example, vocals, drums, and percussion are often very immediate and upfront, while synths, pads, and atmospheric elements sit further back. In shoegaze or ambient music, you often get almost the opposite. Guitars, pads, and textures can form a huge distant world, while the vocal or other elements emerge from inside it. Electronic music can take either approach, or deliberately switch between them. None of this is accidental. These are choices about where the music exists and how you want the listener to experience it. PsychoPan simply gives you more control over that space, so you can design it as deliberately as you design the sounds themselves. I have here a short trailer piece I created just for this tutorial. It's not finished yet, but it's at the perfect stage to start placing things around, at least in my workflow. Let's hear it once without any mixing. Okay, so many elements here. Let's make a simple breakdown. We have some transitions, like this one. Same here. And also the big transition build-up, a rise towards the end. Then we have some classic hits. Stingers. A laughter I use in the intro. A demonic growl. Some breaths. Those work together with a synth lead here and the vocal pad here. I also have a kick, a basic groove, a hi-hat, almost a hi-hat, a kind of a breakbeat here towards the end, helping with the double speed feeling of the trailer build-up. The main bass, another bass I use as a low drifting voice in some passages. I have a synth drone. Kind of a dubstep thing going on here and there. And as I showed earlier, the vocal pad. The synth lead. Some icy bells. And a reverb channel for all of them. So this is the whole arrangement. It's not done yet. It's how you call it? It's a draft actually. So as we progress, many parts are going to be rewritten or further edited. Lots of elements to move around, lots of different ways to create a perspective. Each perspective gives a different feeling. I have already inserted PsychoPan in each track. I don't need to show you the whole process for each and every track because the actual positioning is quite straightforward to do yourself. PsychoPan is designed to make it easy to produce 3D results for stereo mixes. We just insert it and move 3 controls, that's all. If you like to dive deeper into the inner workings of how distance and its spatial effects work, there's an easy-to-read manual, easy to access. Just right-click on the surface of the plugin and follow the link. The more important part of this whole process is deciding which sounds belong together, not as an audio subgroup, but as a creative decision about their role in the song and the story they're trying to tell. Even if that simply means thinking these sounds belong together. That gives you a starting point for building the world of the mix. So for this song, I've made 4 different mixes, each with a different idea of how those groups of sounds exist around the listener. I separated the tracks into groups based on their role in the music, then used PsychoPan to give each track its position, height, depth, distance, and perspective, based on the group it belongs to in my design. What's interesting is how quickly you can get to a convincing result, because PsychoPan works with the way we naturally perceive position and distance, and with some of the acoustic cues that happen naturally in the real world. The processing tends to bring the different elements together in a coherent space. It starts to make mixing feel less like adjusting dozens of separate parameters and more like positioning things in a scene, almost like building a game level or moving pieces around the chessboard. And I find that makes the process much more intuitive, much more fun. And often you get surprisingly close to a finished spatial picture very quickly. So let's hear what these 4 different worlds sound like. So I have saved 4 different mixes using PsychoPan. The first one is all percussive elements are near the listener and all other elements in medium far distances. The second one is percussive elements at medium distance and stingers, hits, and some beats more near. The third one, all percussive elements are near the listener and any atmospheric element is far away. And the fourth one, which is my favorite, is similar to the third one, but I've made more prominent atmospherics and drone elements. I also took some time for the synth drone to automate and randomize the position in horizontal and vertical panning. Each DAW has different mechanics for this, but in Reaper, you just right-click on the parameter and then choose parameter modulation mid-link. And then you can actually show and program the behaviors for those parameters in time. For example, related to the different mixes, if you go, for instance, in the Stinger track, you will see that in the first mix, the distance is almost in the middle, and the second mix moves very close to the listener. Third mix is again near the middle, and fourth mix is not as close as in mix 1, but still pretty close. But in this mix, I have zeroed out the proximity effect. So it's actually different than any other. So let's hear those mixes. So let's go for the initial level balancing first. This is the original that you heard. I will leave the loop at this point and change through the mixes so you can hear the different mix aesthetics and the different perspectives that you can create with PsychoPan. Let's hear the initial level balancing and then switch directly to the PsychoPan 4 mix. Well, I hope this gave you a different way to think about your mixes and some ideas for building a consistent sonic world around your music. If you want to try this approach yourself, head over to WA Production, download the free demo of PsychoPan, and give it a try. It supports all major plugin formats, so you can use it in your own usual setup. Thanks for watching. I'm Pan Athen, and I'll see you in the next one. And always remember, stay creative.